Hey everyone, welcome to This is Rebellion podcast. This is the first one of 2025. I took a little time out. I will go into the reasons why I did that in future episodes, but today isn't about that. Today's about the guest I had on the podcast, the lovely Lorna Cox. Now, Lorna runs a group called Intersingers, which she talks more about during the episode and during conversation. The reason I wanted to start the podcast this year with Lorna is because she's probably the most positive and happiest person I know, to the point where she can walk into a room without saying a word. And it's not just me that feels this way. She kind of just raises the energy a bit. You feel better about life. So I really value this conversation, and I took a lot from it personally, and I hope you do too. Thank you very much for bearing with me. I love you all. This is Rebellion. Welcome to Rebellion podcast. I'm with Lorna, the lovely Lorna, and we're here to start with to talk about happiness.
Yay!
Let's
start 2025 off.
Let's start 2025 off. So, what is happiness to you then, Lorna?
Oh, happiness. Happiness is probably the best emotion that any one person can have. And I have a T-shirt that says happiness dealer. I'm a happiness dealer. I think we struggle so much in this world as it is on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And I think for every negative thing that happens in your life, whether it's a debt or a relationship breaking down or anything like that, a dose of happiness can definitely dilute. Mm-hmm. And the first time I saw real happiness, I set up a company 15, 16 years ago called Fizzy Little World. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do outward bound stuff with special needs adults. And we went and got funding, and I gathered a load of lads, local lads. You probably know most of them, Lee Ellis and people like that. Mm-hmm. And we set up this company, and we did music and drama and just basically gave these people a great time. And they came and they stayed at Outdoor Adventure, as it was at the time. And we had this busload one day that came, and it was full of people from Birmingham. They got the Brummies. And there were a couple of quite large ladies on there who were, they were very special needs, but they were fairly easygoing. And the first thing we did on the first day, we took them down onto the beach, just down from Outdoor. And we said, we're going to do a beach scavenge. And I said, we're going to collect everything, shells, pebbles, seaweed. Yeah. We're going to do a massive collage, and, and it will build up over the week. So we'll have this picture by the end of the week, and it will be your journey of being here for the week. And so there was about 25, 30 of us all down on the beach. And Barbara, come back, Barbara. Barbara is walking into the sea, fully clothed. And her carer was with another chap, and she went ballistic, dropped the bucket that she was collecting. She starts racing. Well, I realised Barbara was actually not going in above her thighs. Barbara hadn't moved. So I said, Judy, it's okay. So I raced in after Barbara. And Barbara was standing in the sea, and the sea was up to her thighs. And she had her hands stretched out like this, and she had her face up to the sky, and then she just dropped it down, and she was just looking left to right. And I thought, oh no, this is one of those scary moments. Is she going to face plant? Is she going to collapse? What's she going to do? Yeah, of course. And I ran up to her and I said, Barbara, what are you doing, you dingbat, like this? And she said, I've never seen the sea.
Wow. Yeah.
And I said, how old are you, Barbara? 64. 64 years old.
My goodness.
She lived in Birmingham, and she had never seen the sea in her entire life. And I said, okay, sweetheart, but you're going to get really cold. And she said, I don't care. Just leave me. I have never been more happy than I am in my entire life.
Wow.
And she was shaking. She was absolutely shaking because she could feel the power of the sea. Yeah. And I thought, there must be very few of us on this planet who actually get to feel that intense happiness. Right.
64 years of not seeing the sea.
64. But it was just the sea that brought that happiness.
Yeah, my goodness.
And I came away from that and I thought, excuse my language, fucking hell, we need some more happiness. We need some more happiness in this world, because to be happy means you're in the light, and it's such a nice place to be.
Okay. I remember when I was a kid, one memory I have of going to the seaside from Birmingham.
Yeah.
We used to go to Real and Breen.
Hey, real.
I think Western-super-Mare, all like the places you go when you're from Birmingham.
Yeah.
When you're a kid. But I always remember that point when, and you get it now when you're travelling from Holsworthy to Bude, when the sea and the sky meet and you kind of see that for the first time. I always remember that as like a really fun memory as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, that was something I think back, and every time I come from Holsworthy or from wherever, and come into Bude and I see that, and it kind of feels weirdly like home. Do you know what I mean? Even though I'm not from here, it kind of feels like
Coming
I'm returning
over the top,
home,
isn't it?
Yeah, because you know, that's just one of the fondest memories I have as a kid. So I'm saying that. Imagine what that lady felt after 64 years of not seeing the sea. I mean,
it was amazing.
When you get to Western, you don't really see the sea, do you? But you know, it's there. It's there.
But she'd been in institutions all her life.
It's so sad, isn't it?
And then
in a way, I know it's a really happy story.
I know, it is a happy story.
But the 64 years of...
I know. And I felt, in this day and age, in this country, how can people not be exposed to nature and elements? And generally, it's nature and elements, it's views, it's outside things that flood us.
Yeah.
That make you realise you're happy.
That connection.
But happiness is way more than that. And happiness is a state of mind, and it's a state of every day. And I say to people, so for those of you who don't know, I set up a choir after lockdown. Because I don't know about you, but I watched online so many things, stuck in the house on my own completely. Due to health reasons, I had to be in the home on my own. And I devoured stuff online. And there was all these people popping up all over the place singing, and celebrities. And it was the weirdest time for us all living at that time. And you shouldn't really feel happy going through that, because it was our equivalent in our generation of World War II. They've equated it to that. With as many mental health issues attached to that as World War II did. And I realised that people like singing. And I realised I was missing people being stuck at the back of Marham Church in the middle of nowhere, Titston. And I thought, okay, Lorna, you're fairly good at getting people together. I just said, look, let's just do some singing. Community singing, that's what I started off with. And so I got a collection of musicians, and I said, come on, let's just sing the classics. And the first week, about 48 people came, and I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be okay. All right. The next session, there was 112 people. And I thought, okay, there is a need for this. And so we opened up the place, and we did coffee and tea and refreshments. And then we packed everybody down the front, and I was on the stage and I led them. And you had to come with an open mind. You couldn't have any conceived ideas about what we were going to sing. You weren't allowed to judge what we were singing, because if you didn't like it, it didn't matter. The next song came along. And we had a great time. And the group has grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. And people come and people go. It's very transient, but I don't care, because I'm providing you with 2 hours of joy. And in the middle of last year, we did Angels, Robbie Williams. Classic karaoke, I know. It's not my cup of tea. But we just did this little video. And so we started to sing. And I looked about, and there was a lot of ladies who were there who were single ladies who've lost husbands or divorced or having a really hard time. And to see them, and they were standing the same as Barbara. They were standing with their arms like this, and they were shaking, and they were singing out here, and some were crying, and there was one lady singing like this, and I was thinking, wow, Robbie Williams is having a bit of an effect, but obviously it wasn't that. And to watch these people fall into the music, and I use that expression, I don't use it lightly, I use that expression because that's how I see it. And so people always queue up to speak to you afterwards, you know, because you're the loon on the stage. And 3 or 4 ladies came and said, "Oh, just if you knew my background, you would know, you wouldn't believe why I'm here." And I said, "Yeah, but how did the music make you feel?" "Oh, it was just amazing. I feel so full of joy." And I said, "Well, you need to harness that and take it home with you, and you've got to use it tomorrow." And that's when I realised that imparting joy to people, it doesn't matter if I don't get anything out of it, because the joy I get out of it is seeing someone going whose eyes are a bit dead, and then you look at them, and then
yeah, right,
there's a bit of a spark, and you go, because I don't know those people's walks of life, and happiness is underrated, and it goes along with being a good person.
Yeah, I think
Goodness is underrated massively. I was reminded of that recently. And goodness is underrated because we don't think it's very cool to be good. But do you know what? It really is. It's such a powerful tool to be a good, happy person.
I think that's a really big message there for like now, you know, because I think since COVID, I think people have become not more self-serving because they're not nice people. But we were trained during that period to look out for ourselves.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, number one.
And I think that there are echoes of that now. And I think that just by hearing you say that like being good, that's the key to like happiness. You know, we're talking about common courtesies last time in a previous podcast, and like that to me is like a big thing. It's just there. It's like in me, I have to do it anyway, regardless, because it's the way I am. But like it is that treat each other nicely, and the reward is, you know, you do get something from that.
Absolutely.
You don't do it for that reason because you're not.
No.
But you can see.
No.
And it's a really funny thing, isn't it? Because I think from personal experience, I think happiness takes work. It doesn't just fall in your lap. Do you know what I mean? And I wonder, Lorna, whether you can tell me whether you've obviously put the work in to be happy. It doesn't just happen.
No.
But does it just get easier because you have these things in place and these kind of like it becomes a way of life?
For me, it's stepping stones. So the big stepping stone is that the first thing you have to do is you have to like yourself. To be happy, you have to like yourself.
And that's a hard thing for a lot of people.
That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
And if you like yourself, then getting to like yourself is the biggest step a human being can take. Because a lot of us have come from backgrounds maybe that aren't the most supportive, most loving, yada, yada, yada. There are lots of people in this world who are incredibly blessed with amazing, functional families. Yeah. So they learn happiness in a different way. But if you have been deprived of stuff when you're a child, you have to learn that. You can't just take a happiness pill. No. So I fall in one of these camps of, I am fascinated as to how do people get into drugs? How do you get from being a functional person to being an absolute, you know? Yeah. Well, what has happened? Who hurt you? What happened to you that takes you away from wanting to find happiness naturally and thinking, I can get it in booze and alcohol. I can get it in porn. I can get it in rubbish relationships. I can get it in addictions. I can get it in gambling. Because as society, we are conditioned to be constantly bombarded with outside stuff. We have to be stimulated all the time. Yeah. And so it is, for me, I say you need to move the stimulus and you have to be at peace with yourself. Yeah. You have to like yourself. And you just have to spend 1 hour in your own company and feel what's inside your head, feel what's inside your body, what's inside your spirit.
And allow yourself to experience it as well, which is something I begin to learn now.
And in that moment, set yourself a task. Set yourself something that you are going to find joy in that you feel you wouldn't normally find joy in. So for me, it could be a cup of coffee. Or for me, it's the perfect glass of water with the perfect amount of ice in it. For me, it's the perfect mug. For me, it's sitting in a chair and it being the perfect seat as you sit down. The cushions are in the perfect spot. No one can see, but we've got trifold doors here that open right out onto the canal. It's standing and watching a robin. And it's all sad. There'll be people out there going, ooh, It's all very well for you. I live in a high-rise flat in Peckham.
No, but you're saying that we can all find these pleasurable things, in everyday life, we probably overlook. So just putting that little bit of effort in, and kind of take time to notice these things. It's called mindfulness, right? But it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think being mindful and present is. But that's what I'm trying to say is it's difficult. So you're saying stepping stones, because everyday
Start
life
with those.
is just. But taking that hour out for yourself. That's the kind of like first.
But if you give everyone else in your family an hour out, because you can't be the self-entitled one that wanders around saying, "I need my hour." Leave me. It's not. It's a metaphorical hour.
Yeah,
it can be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they say that when you have a panic attack, when you are faced with real danger, when you're faced with utter depression, where your dopamine levels and the chemical levels in your brain are so low that you are clawing out to survive. That's down here. I don't recognise that. I can't recognise that. To me, it's a complete anathema. I don't understand. I don't get how some poor person can be that way. Yeah. And they say you need to survive 1 minute. So I survive an hour, they survive a minute. Yeah. All you've got to do is survive a minute. Did you survive that minute? Yeah. Well, let's do the next one. And then let's do the next one. You've survived 5 minutes. Yeah. And it's about then taking that 5 minutes back and going, I did it, 5 minutes. I drank a glass of water. I sat still. I didn't ache. I didn't hurt. I didn't cry. And I survived for 5 minutes.
It's quite funny because the reason, because we were saying, what's this podcast going to be about? And I said happiness. But the reason I said that is because no matter how I'm feeling, no matter where I am on that spectrum of which is usually kind of the lower end of the spectrum of feeling either, I don't know, anxious or sad or whatever else, just usually riding it out. But no matter what I'm feeling, when I see you, it kind of just, it's so that's why happiness, I thought would be a really good subject, because it is infectious. You've kind of realized a state, I think, where you're able to affect a lot of people, like in intersingers, and you witness that, you witness that yourself. Yeah. So that's why I'm interested, because I think everyone out there, nobody wants to be miserable. Nobody wants to be miserable. I think also as well, and I could say it about myself, sometimes you can convince yourself that you are.
Oh,
which is a deadly trap.
Okay, so classic example of that. The convincing is a massive, massive thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're told something as a child, well, you're stupid, which I was told. I'll quite openly admit that. My mum told me I was stupid. So she wrote that on the back of a coat, not literally, handed me the coat, and I wore that coat. Well, my mum's told me. It's my mum at the end of the day. She must be right, so I put that coat on. And then you're fat, so you put that coat on. Or you're really boring, you put that coat on. And if you keep on layering up all these coats, you end up looking like a bloody fridge. You end up like a walking freezer. And if you choose to take what people say to you and define yourself by that, then you end up, this gorgeous person that is inside is completely swamped by everything that people have put on, layered on you. Chris, you're too quiet. Chris, you're too dark thinking. Chris, you're not talented enough. Chris, you can't sing for toffee. Chris, but none of those things are true. So if you take all the coats off, A, you're lighter, and B, people can see the real you. And it's because you've chosen to pick that coat up.
And people are more accepting of the real you. It's easier to resonate with somebody who is being themselves, truthfully, right?
Yeah.
So how do you take those coats off?
So then you look at the coats you're wearing and you think, now I could just carry on wearing those coats. They're comfort to me. I'm warm in these coats. Yeah. This defines me, but does it define you? And it's how much happiness you as a human walking sponge is prepared to take on board. If you keep on taking happiness and if you keep going for the dopamine hits that comes with living a good life, I'm not talking about being virtuous and all that. I'm just talking about living a kind life, being good to other people. Try not be judgmental. Try and always see the best in people until they do you wrong. Now that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
That's a whole
there
different
are caveats
podcast.
to all of these, but what you're
Absolutely.
saying is absolutely right. I mean, I believe it.
Yeah.
And that's a really lovely metaphor, like the jackets.
Yeah.
You're
not heavy anymore.
And it's really funny. I think the more the jackets you wear, the more susceptible you are of people with more jackets on you throughout life as well. You know, so you.
But you take one thing that someone says to you. If you're having a bad day and someone comes in and says something sparky to you, they look you in the eye and they just say something sparky, how can you not smile inwardly at that? It makes you feel good for 40 seconds. You won't forget that for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then somebody might come in who's having a bad time, but you're slightly on a high from what that other person said to you. So you're more likely to say, it's all right, chin up, And,
so is that infectious?
It's infectious.
Yeah.
It imparts. Yeah. It imparts. And I don't surround myself with negativity. If you think of a box of matches, the old-fashioned tab that you ripped off the tabs.
Yeah.
If you think about that, if you light each match head, ka-dunk, 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 okay, the person who then decides that it's not for them.
Right.
That gets blown out. If you pull that tab away, there's not a hope in hell that these matches are going to get lit. Because the first one lights the second one, which lights the third one, which lights the fourth one. You take this miserable so-and-so out, not a chance are they going to get lit. So it's about passing it on. Yeah, and I had an instance in... I was away for 8 days in a big city, shall we say. Let's just leave it at that. And I walked into a large department store and I head for the makeup counter. They were doing free makeup sessions. And there was a very gorgeous, tight young thing with, and she was all, like this. Hi, love, she goes. And she said, we're doing free makeup sessions today. She said, would you like me to do your makeup? And I thought, hell, why not? I haven't got a clue what I do with my makeup. I said, go for it. She said, first of all, I'll clean all that off you, she said. And she went, can I just say, an older lady like you shouldn't be wearing all that on your eyes, all that glitter? She said, oh, no, definitely not for a lady of your age. And I'm not joking, Chris.
What?
Within 20 seconds, I went, I physically felt like a knife had gone in here. I thought, you have destroyed in one sentence my trademark. You have my
right. I know
everybody always knows me for my glittery eyeshadow.
Yeah.
You have destroyed my self-confidence and you've made me feel an old woman in one sentence. And do you know what? I couldn't say a word to her.
It stumped you.
It stumped me. And I had my coat on the counter. I just grabbed my coat like this and I walked away. I was so shocked. Oh. I went straight round next door into Pret to get a cup of coffee. That's how badly it affected me, because I've spent my entire life trying to build myself up to be Lorna. It's hard.
Somebody you didn't know.
And the girl behind the counter, she looked at me. I said, a cup of coffee. I'll have a coffee, please. I said, I'll have an oat latte. And she went, okay. And she said, anything to eat with that? And I went, yeah, I'll have that. And I pointed to this bun.
Right.
Oh, I'll have that. And she looked at me, she said, are you all right? And I went, yeah, I'm fine, like that. And she went, tell you what, go and find yourself a seat. She said, I'll plate all this up on a tray and I'll bring it to you. That was in Pret-a-Manger.
Wow. So
she bought me this tray and she sat it down and she said, take your time. That's all she said, and she walked away. And I thought, wow, that's a bit, we're talking a major city in our country,
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I finished, I went and I said to her, you are really good at your job. And thank you for that, for recognising that there was something wrong as a woman to a woman. I went next door to Marks and Spencer's. And the lady said, have you got a Sparks card? And I said, yeah, I have. I said, I can't open the app. I haven't got my glasses, I can't see. Oh, but I'm an old woman. So, hey, it's just another thing, just to remind me I'm old and crusty. And she said, what do you mean? So I went, I said, I've just had this instance in Selfridges. And I told her and she went, oh my days, she said, I was just looking at you thinking what a mesmerising woman you are. She said, and what a B-I-T-C-H. And she said, I can't believe that. She said, that's terrible. Why do women do that? And that is what society can be like. We build up, we knock down, we build up, we knock down. And no matter if you think it, don't say it.
I just think that's it, isn't it? Don't say it.
Don't say it.
And do you know what? There are bastards out there too.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? But maybe just need a bit more work. That's how I like to put it.
Yeah.
And they're just going with the flow. You know, I could say this because she probably wasn't even being nasty in her head. Do you know what I mean? She was probably just.
I don't know what she thought she was doing.
I don't know what she thought she was doing.
Yeah.
Man, that's horrendous.
But that's how you can lose your happiness.
Yeah.
You know, you then.
So you shook it off.
I shook it off because she said what she said. Then I walked out and I ended up walking down the Lambeth Road. And Greg Davis, the comedian.
Just making sure this is,
and he's like 7 foot tall. Greg Davis is a very, very, if you know Greg Davis.
Yeah.
He was coming towards me down the Lambeth Road and he was on his phone. And I love Greg Davis. And me being like an idiot because everybody knows me in Bude, so therefore everyone should know me here, you know. And he's on his phone, like this. And I went, you! I said, Greg? I said, I love you, like this. And he took my finger and he took my fist and he put it on his chest. And he said, I'll take that from you, gorgeous sparkly eyes.
There you go.
And then he let go of my hand and he walked off.
There you go.
There you go.
Ooh, it was a bit of a pinball of a
pinball,
like a morning.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was
But
wow.
But I think happiness isn't just about giving compliments. Happiness is making someone believe something about themselves, even if you don't. It's about saying to somebody, God, you look great in that colour. They don't have to be wearing something amazing. But if they're wearing a colour that makes them look really alive, to be able to say to them, you look really good today, or you look really alive, my friend, or your face is shining. Who's not going to want to hear that? Now, there'll be a lot of people who go, I have not got Lorna's confidence. And it's not about confidence. It's about truly recognising. It's about being astute enough in 6 people to know which is the one person that needs you at that point to be happy for them.
Yeah.
That's a skill. That's a superpower.
Yeah.
But most of us can pick out when someone just needs it because you can tell by the eyes, you can tell by the way they're standing.
Yeah. It's all there. It's all there.
And you must see it all the time.
We do. I think we do in the cafe, and I do personally. I mean, I'm pretty. So I hide away a lot because I'm quite susceptible to how other people are feeling. I think it's and it can I can take that home with me sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Which is a weird thing, but like I've always been the same way. If someone's feeling really low, I used to say like about hooks. People can put hooks on you, and by the time you got home, you're like, we're full of analogies today, by the way. Like,
what was that?
But like you get home and like you've got all these hooks. You're like, where do these come from?
Yeah.
Oh man, these are. I better take these off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm working on myself, getting there. And that's partly what this podcast is about, this little journey. But I haven't done one this year yet because it's just been a rocky Jan. I think Jan's like the hardest month.
It's a horrible month.
And
and it goes on and on and on.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Oh,
my goodness.
Yeah.
But we're in Feb now. It's short.
Feb sort of comes and goes really, really quickly.
It's really snappy and really quick, isn't it?
Then start getting lighter and we can get out more, we can do more.
Yeah. So if somebody's feeling a bit low, I'm going to kind of bring it towards the end now.
Okay.
If someone's feeling a bit low out there, what would you say?
I'd want to find out the reason why you're low.
Yeah.
And I would say to anybody that start with yourself before you reach out to others. Find someone that you trust. Find someone that you can go a bit crazy with. Laughter is the most important thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I would say that to cry is really good. Yeah. Analyze, to actually say out loud what is wrong. Appreciate where you are and where you live is a massive, massive thing. I had cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. And when you have been faced with death, you view life differently. Now, not everyone's going to have that. For me, it was almost not a privilege, that's a strong word, but for me it was a blessing, because it stopped me being so far up my own arse I could see the back of my throat. It does not bring you down to earth. Life is really short.
It does.
Life is really, 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 really precious. And you can go in a nanosecond. I'm a funeral celebrant, and so I get to send people on their way once they're gone. Nobody on the deathbed. And I'm doing a funeral next week of a dear friend of mine. He was an intersinger, and I saw him before he died. He asked me to go and see him. And he said, I don't want anyone else doing my funeral but you, because I want it to be a joyous time. And nobody ever sits on their deathbed and says, I wish I'd spent more time in the office.
I think that's something I could really,
just don't
take
do
on
it.
board.
Just don't do it. Don't do it. Prioritize your health. Eat well. Drink plenty of water. Look for good vitamins that just nourish your soul. Spend time with good people that nourish your soul. Go crazy. Dance. Get out in the rain. Go swimming. Go cold water swimming. Do find what floats your boat and stick with it. And stop freaking moaning.
Yeah.
Moaning.
Get out of your comfort zone
is
as well.
the
Yeah, moaning is the one.
worst
Yeah, moaning's
thing.
the one.
And there's
Yeah,
nothing more depressing. You spend 5 minutes with the moaning,
Sad
you'll soon
sack.
know about it.
Remember Sad Sack?
Sad sack, yeah. Sad sack. Yeah, sad sack.
It's in the reject bin.
Yeah, exactly. It's just about seeing the beauty in life. It's about seeing the good in life and seeing the good in people. Thank God you're alive.
Yeah.
It's a
See the good in
privilege.
yourself as well. That's the thing. See the
Absolutely.
good within you. And
in this day and age where we are today, we are so blooming lucky to be here. We are part of a very exciting generation, with things developing all the time. And there's great madness out in the world under weird leadership. And I think everyone moans about Britain, and I think, stop. We are in such a great place, particularly in this area. We're very blessed in North Cornwall to be here. I just think life's far too exciting.
That's good.
Seize
I
the
like
day.
it. I like it. And I think as well, Lorna, I think you should give Intersingers a shout, shouldn't you?
Intersingers.
Shout out.
Intersingers, if you really, really want to let rip, please come and join us. We start back the first Tuesday in March, and it's a crazy old time. Find us on social media. We've got our own page. And come and you'll be seeing so much cheese, you'll be bringing your own cheese biscuits. There is nothing better than belting out Queen at the top of your voice.
So, and I just want to thank you personally for being on a podcast and for pushing for this as well, because I needed a bit of a push this year, I think.
Chris, your face changes when you're happy.
Yeah.
Your whole demeanour fizzes and your eyes sparkle.
Yeah.
And it's just way more joyous to see you like that than seeing you like this.
Like sad sack.
Sad sack.
Thank you so much. And thank you for several times just pulling me out of the well, which is,
That's my job. I love pulling people out
I
of the well.
literally opened the door to the car to get here, and it was like, so, it's just, you can't, it's infectious. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
This is Rebellion Podcast. I'll be back. I'll be doing more. Thank you very much, Lorna.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
So welcome back. We have a little bonus because Lorna had something she really wanted to share, and we forgot.
We forgot.
We forgot. So
we're having too much fun.
So let's share it.
Okay. One thing I wanted to say is I listened to a radio show, and Chris Evans, my hero. I don't know a bad Chris.
No couple.
I only know good Chris's. And he was talking about something called the Duchenne Smile.
Mm-hmm.
And they have looked into the whole act of smiling. And most people say about me is, Lorna, I just love your smile, because my natural bitch resting face is actually what this is. It's just, I don't have a resting face. I think it's it's not good. I think my resting face is always going to be slightly smiling. And everyone says, oh, I really like your smile. And some people say, well, I find it really hard to smile. And they have done loads of research in Sweden and Switzerland and places like that. And there is Professor Duchenne. And he actually looked practically what happens to the body when you smile. And he wired up loads of people's brains, and he got them to laugh at images and smile at things. He said he gave them 3 images and what makes you smile, and he watched what happens to the brain, and the brain went like that. Same principle when you listen to music. Right. That somebody with Parkinson's or somebody with really full-on dementia or Alzheimer's haven't got a clue what day of the week it is, but you wire their brain up when you play them a song that they know, and the brain goes like that. Wow. And it's the same principle. And he identified that, I think it's, don't quote me, but 72 muscles it takes to frown, but only 44 to smile. So this is a massively important thing. And they have said that if you can force your brain, so every time you smile, you flood your brain with dopamine. We're all chasing dopamine. We spend all our time wanting that fix. We want that dopamine. Smiling does a physical chemical reaction in your brain, and it's called the Duchenne Smile. And if you get a pencil, and if you put your pencil between here like this, and you bite down on that, so you force yourself to smile like that, and you do... You bite down on that pencil for 40 seconds and you bite hard so that you do this. It actually elevates his. You let go, you will get a slight head rush like being high, and your brain is completely like flooded with dopamine, because the brain's a stupid organ. It doesn't understand. You can't, there's lots of things you can't do with the brain that people think the brain can do. And one of them is you can fox the brain into thinking you're happy by doing that exercise.
Incredible, isn't it?
It's absolutely incredible. And then to laugh out loud, to laugh with someone, but to keep laughing and keep laughing and keep laughing and keep laughing. And you'll both be hysterical, because it's impossible to stop the brain from laughing.
I love that, like, it's a rare moment, you know, when you kind of stomach hurts when you laugh that much. I just love those times, like, you know what I mean? Like those times.
But if you keep
just
laughing,
like, oh, I can't stop. You know?
Yeah, but then that's why when you go like that, you do get a sort of rush. You keep on laughing.
You with a pencil, like.
But I would say, every one of you, get a pencil, put it in your teeth like this, bite down hard, count to 40 seconds and release, and you'll just get this wonderful flood. That's what I wanted to say.
And I just said as well to Lorna when I pressed stop that you're probably going to want more of Lorna, so...
Here a week, folks!
just comment if you do, and we'll rearrange, and because it's been really fun, hasn't it?
It's been really fun.
Yeah.
We could talk about all kinds of subjects.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care, everyone.